Hi everyone, my name's Kate Kalthoff and welcome to another Stamping to Share video. The Holiday Mini 2015 is out and on page 43 there's a suite of products that all coordinate for fall. The stamp set is called Thankful Forest Friends, and this stamp set is going to be great for kids cards, if you have a cabin up north, if you need a few Thanksgiving cards this year. And I'm one of those people that like to just stamp and go. So in other words, I would just stamp one single color, cut it out, and call it good. But these bold images are also great for using with your marker set, because it's real easy to color in with markers and then stamp away, and you can add all kinds of color to these images. So I'm really excited about that. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing that we're going to need is our base cardstock, and that is in the color Early Espresso. I've cut it at 5.5 by 8.5 and then scored it at 4 1/4. So what I'm going to do next is I'm just going to fold along that score line and then use my bone folder to make a nice crisp fold. The next thing I'm going to do is finish off the inside of my card, and all I'm doing for that is using a little tiny strip of designer series paper to match the outside of the card. And so this piece of paper is in Whisper White. It's 4 by 5 1/4, and then the strip at the bottom is a 1/2 inch by 4 inches. And let me talk about that designer series paper for just a minute. It does coordinate with the stamp set. It's called Into the Woods. And one of the, well, there's a couple of nice things. There's this wood grain in a soft suede, and then a wood grain in Early Espresso. But I would have to say that my favorite piece of designer series paper are these nuts. I just think they're so cute. And then of course there's lots of other colorful pieces of paper that just bring to mind images of fall. And so that's what I used, and actually you can get many cards using the nut paper, and I'll show you why. You are just cutting little tiny strips. So you have a 1/2 inch by 4 inch here on the inside panel of the card, and then these two strips on the outside panel of the card are only 3/4 inches wide and then 4 inches long. So I'll share that with you in a second. But let's go ahead and put this inside panel on. So I'm just using a little bit of snail at the top, and we're just going to burnish this right onto the inside panel of our card. And now we're ready for the outside panel. And to start the outside panel, again, we're going to Whisper White. This is 4 by 5 1/4 inches. And those two strips of designer series papers in the nut image are 3/4 inches by 4 inches. So you'll need 2 of those. And then I'm just going to use a little bit of multi-purpose liquid glue to glue that onto this front panel. So we'll put the first one down here, and we'll put the next one right at the top of this panel. I used a little bit too much glue, I think, because it's a little bit more wiggly than I like it. It can kind of get away on you if you're not totally careful. There, I did a better job with this top panel. So that just goes right there. And now we can set this aside, because the next thing we're going to need is a panel of soft suede. This is 4 by 4 1/4. And we're going to run that through the Big Shot machine with a new product. It's the Woodland embossing folder. Now this embossing folder can actually be bundled with a stamp set called Among the Branches. And when you bundle them, you actually save 15% on both the embossing folder and the stamp set. So I did use that embossing folder, and it's one of our 6 by 6 embossing folders from Stampin' Up, and I really love it. And so I did do that in advance, and this is what it looks like. And we're going to adhere this to our card before we do the twine wrapping. So again, I'm just going to use a little bit of the multi-purpose liquid glue along the back. And then I'm just going to center that in on my front panel and press that down. And now that is ready to go. So to wrap our twine, I have some thick gold baker's twine. And I just opened this up. So one tip I want to share with you is to keep this from getting lost. I just take a little clip right here in the middle. And then when I'm done with it, I can just clip this up here, that excess string, so I can always find it. And so we are going to wrap this around. So I'm just going to start, maybe 1.5 inches or so from the bottom. And we're going to secure that with some Scotch tape on the back. And then we're going to wrap it 3 times. Just like this. And I want to fan it out. So I'm keeping it together on one side, and then I'm fanning it out on the other side. Just kind of adjusting this here. And then fanning it out. And then I'm going to take another piece of Scotch tape and just secure all of that on the back. Then we can clip this off and set this aside. And our panel is ready. All we need is our sentiment. So the sentiment is going to be stamped on a piece of scrap Whisper White. And I'm inking up the stamp with soft suede. And you just stamp it on like that. And then you're going to run it through the Bake Shop machine with the Lots of Labels framelits. So that's what this looks like. So we're using the 4th largest Lots of Labels framelit. And so I started with my magnetic base, and then I put my cut plate down, my paper, my labels framelit over the top, and then my pad over the top of that yet. So that's the sandwich that you use. And then, since I did this in advance, we're pretty much ready to go here. So now all I have to do is add some dimensionals. And I just put 2 dimensionals on, one at the very top and one at the bottom, because the thick baker's twine is going to be going through the center, so that will support the rest of this sentiment. So now all we have to do is add this to the front panel, like so. Just make sure it's on there pretty straight. What I'm doing is lining up the bottom of this panel with my soft suede panel. And now it is ready to put right onto the front of our card. And since I have quite a bit of baker's twine here, I'm going to place this panel onto my card with dimensionals. So as you can see, there's 4 dimensionals on here, 1 in each corner, and now we can just center this onto the front panel of our card. And our card is complete. I hope you're just as nuts about this card as I am. And here's the card I just did. Here's the card that I did in advance. And thank you so much for stopping by Stamping to Share. I truly appreciate you. If you need a demonstrator or you need a holiday 2015 mini catalog mailed to you so you can look at one in person, let me know. You can visit my blog at www.stampingtoshare.com, and there's links there for you to place orders as well. Have a great day. Bye-bye.